boy, I can't wait to try out the Virtual Boy accessory Nintendo accidentally sent me early for Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh my god, it's like I'm in the game!
How did this totally tubular device ever fail?
My eyes just barely feel like they're on fire! Way cool!
Whoa, where am I? Where am I? Sorry, the Virtual Boy experience gets a little crazy. In any case, as you might have guessed, this is not actually the new Switch accessory. Instead, it is an actual working Virtual Boy, the original hardware, one of only 700,000 in the world, making it kind of a rare thing by Nintendo standards at least. And that's exactly why the new Switch accessory is actually pretty exciting, because it'll allow anyone with a Switch Online subscription to play an entire library of games that most of the world has never even seen before. All 22 of them. Of which only 14 will be available. And it's not even launching with all 14 games at the start either, although we may actually know which games it is launching with, which we'll get to soon enough. But here's the thing, in order to play any of them, Nintendo says you're going to have to buy this, or at least the Switch version of this, for a cool $100, which is quite a bit of money for a small library of games, most of which aren't especially great. Now luckily there is a cheaper cardboard version available for $25, but the catch in that case is that you have to hold the thing up to your face the entire time.
You have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
Baby's toy.
But what if I told you that I think Nintendo's lying, or at least not telling the full truth? Because as the world's foremost expert on Nintendo VR technology, I am confident you'll be able to play the Virtual Boy library without needing one of these, or the cardboard variant. What I'm saying is I think you'll be able to play the Virtual Boy library effectively for free. Let's talk about it. And it all comes down to one simple fact. The Virtual Boy accessories are not smart devices. They're just plastic and cardboard shells that your Switch or Switch 2 slide right into. Which means there's almost no way for your Switch to know whether you're using one or not. And I know this because Nintendo already made an accessory just like it years ago, being Labo VR, which is even made of cardboard just like one of the Virtual Boy accessories. So if you already own Labo VR, that means you basically already own a Virtual Boy accessory too, as this should work as long as you have a Switch 1, as the Switch 2 sadly will not fit. So what are you Switch 2 owners, or those of you who don't own Labo VR, supposed to do if you don't want to shell out $25 to $100 for an accessory? Well, you may not be entirely out of luck, as there are two possible options that may work to some degree. Let's start with the option that's almost guaranteed to work. Mostly. And that's how you should be able to play Virtual Boy games in handheld mode, regardless of what Nintendo says. It just won't be in VR. And I know this because you can do exactly that with just about every Nintendo game that supported Labo VR, like Captain Toad or Mario Odyssey. But hold up, I know what some of you are thinking. Wasn't the Labo VR game able to tell when you had the Switch plugged into the VR goggles or not? And yeah, it basically could, thanks to a little trick it was using. Because all it was really doing was using the light sensor built into the Switch itself to determine if there was any light at all. If it can't see any, then it assumes that's because you plugged it into something blocking the sensor. You can try this for yourself just by covering the sensor with your finger. So although I think it's unlikely, if Nintendo decided to go this route to try and verify they actually had a Virtual Boy accessory plugged in or not, you can just cover that sensor with dark tape or something to fool it. Point is, no matter what, you should be able to play in handheld mode. You'll just have to deal with the two video feeds, and them looking a little bit distorted since they were meant to be seen with the goggles. But it should still mostly be playable, as perfectly demonstrated by this video of an actual Virtual Boy that was included within Labo VR. Huh, were they teasing it all this time? Now you might be thinking, hey, wait a second, if this works in handheld form, shouldn't it also work when docked too so that it can play on the TV? And that brings us to our second possible solution, though this one's a lot dicier, although with a potentially big payoff. So here's the thing, it probably won't work when docked, because almost every other VR game that Nintendo's made themselves, including Labo VR, Captain Toad, and Super Mario Odyssey, simply will not work when the Switch is docked. And if you try to trick it by putting it back into the dock after starting VR mode in handheld form, he'll just kick you right back to the same menu. And there is a very good chance that the Virtual Boy app will do the exact same thing, making it impossible to play when docked. But, and this is a big but, there is one VR game that Nintendo made that didn't do this, being Breath of the Wild, as it allowed you to turn on VR mode even when the system's docked. And it's our only glimmer of hope that the same might be true for the Virtual Boy app too. And there's a huge bonus that comes with it too, as not only would it allow you to play on the TV, but also in VR, as long as you own PlayStation VR. We actually already put together a video showing how to play Breath of the Wild in VR on Switch 2 through your PlayStation VR. And assuming the Virtual Boy app somehow works when docked, well, the same method should work for it too. So that's all the ways that you might be able to play Virtual Boy games on Switch or Switch 2 without having to buy expensive accessories. But that still begs the question, what games will we be playing first? Well, one of our fans, Mario Guy 85, might have the answer to that question, as they spotted something on the Australian website for the Virtual Boy accessory. being a section titled Upcoming Games, in which 3 are listed, being Mario's Tennis, Galactic Pinball, and Totoro Boxer. And that might just be our launch lineup. Not bad! Although it would be a little crazy to get Mario's Tennis on Virtual Boy within just a week of Mario Tennis Fever on the Switch too. Particularly when this game rules, it might actually be the better of the two, or at least the more interesting. All that being said, I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy the Virtual Boy accessory for the Switch or Switch 2. I actually think it's super cool, especially as it almost certainly comes with a secret bonus, being the ability to play any Switch 1 game that supported VR on your Nintendo Switch 2 also in VR, including Super Mario Odyssey, Captain Toad, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild of course, and even a slew of third-party games like Neon Wall, Spice and Wolf VR, among others. The only game that shouldn't work as far as I know is Labo VR, as the various Toy-Con accessories still won't fit the Switch 2. Which actually is a bit of a bummer, as that game, or should I say games, were actually super fun. Putting aside me looking up a bird's ass here, this might have been one of the most immersive flying games I've ever played. It kinda reminded me of the Avatar ride at Disney World. And with that, that's everything we know about how to play the Virtual Boy games on Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2 without needing the Virtual Boy accessories itself. Now since a lot of this video was informed speculation, we'll make a follow-up video once the Virtual Boy games are actually available to see if we were right or not. And on that note, if you like this video, make sure to click the subscribe button and ring that bell for tons more from us on the Virtual Boy and everything else Nintendo here as well. We'll catch you later. Bye everyone!